how do you like my parking?
Here I come again now, baby, like a dog.
I wanted to come out to the cliffs today. I just kind of haven't been hanging out here much lately, and I missed them. I missed them if I don't come out here at least once a week. That was kind of my my idea. Is the path, the truest path to happiness while I'm on this island is spend an hour or two on the cliffs once a week, and I haven't been doing that, so I'm thinking maybe that has something to do with my lack of zen, my lack of bliss. And it was raining today, and I'm thinking, man, you know, there's not really much I can do. I got to ride through the rain to get through anything today, and it's kind of odd, just being the middle of summer. It's July, and this is not the rainy season, but since we've had what's coming through now is the remnants of a couple of hurricanes, now tropical storms or depressions or lows or whatever they want to call them now. But we're getting a lot of rain, a lot of clouds, a lot of on and off rain, wind a good bit, and so I thought, well, you know, I haven't set up in the rain in a while, so let me just pack up a few beers and a cooler and, you know, set my tarp up. The intent was kind of put my chair under the tarp, but I brought my hammock just in case, because sometimes I'll get out here and I'll just fall into a freaking trance and just want to kick back. So I brought both the tarp and the chair today. But the main thing is getting back to see if I can find some of that bliss that I'm missing. Two pretty strong squalls came in. One was very strong. I was starting to worry. I don't know, 30 knot winds. I don't mind 30 knots and below, but when it gets up above 30, I kind of start worrying about my about my gear and getting really wet and having limbs fall on my head. Which, I mean, this is a coastline full of ironwood, so I'm not real concerned about the trees, but I am still concerned about my my gear. I don't want to lose my gear just because I wanted to go sit under a tarp during the rain. But everything went up pretty well. One of the things I learned a while back is advantages with a tarp hammock setup. The biggest advantage that I have found, well, there's so many, but one of the most shocking things that I just discovered after the fact was setting your tent up in the rain. And I've heard other guys say, nah, you just need to do this, you need to do that. I don't know if these guys have ever set up in the rain, but setting up in the rain is night and day. So I've set up so many times in the rain since I've had that tarp. It's always a misery setting up in a tent. So a misery in that you have no cover. You're setting up your house in the rain. So the inside of your tent is going to get wet. You're going to get wet and miserable setting everything up. But the big difference that I discovered since I've had the tarp is that all you have to do, really, is tie two ends of the tarp tie one end of the tarp to a tree, another end to the other tree, and you've got shelter. It may not be perfect, but you can put your other gear in there while you're setting up. So, you know, usually what I do is I'll make a hanging tent basically out of my tarp, which is most of the time that's what I have. Especially when it's raining, it's so comforting. You know, so many times I've set up in the rain. I've been riding in the rain for hours sometimes, and I'm just miserable. And I go, man, I just want to really find a campsite, get under my tarp, and just relax and dry out. Get this rain, this constant rain, from dripping on me. And you know, most of the time I ride anywhere but this island. I've got pretty good rain gear, so I'm not really wet. Sometimes I'll get wet around the collar. Sometimes it'll go up my sleeves. Sometimes my feet get wet, but it's not a miserable thing. It's just being in the weather all the time is disconcerting. So when I have a chance to set up a tarp and get immediately out of the water. I mean, I can set my tarp up just hanging, a sheet hanging between two trees in, you know, less than a couple of minutes. I like to tie it off pretty well. Sometimes I have to find the right perfect tree, but I love the cliffs. I haven't seen them this rough in months. Yeah, I think I brought one of the first videos I made when I got to the island was, wow, these waves are intense. And this is not an intense day. This is just kind of an unusual day. The waves there's a few waves that are hitting that are big. Not like the winter when the waves were just pounding. Getting off the bike and, you know, sitting in driving rain, most of the time I have to pull my shield down and it's all uncomfortable and foggy and moist in there. But getting off the bike, I can lift my modular helmet up. So I've got basically a shield above my head, a tent, a tarp over my head while I'm walking around doing setting up camp. But once I get my tarp set up, it's just like, seems like my attitude changes dramatically. Just like, oh, okay. And then you know, if I could pull a chair out or set up my hammock and have a chair with my hammock, kick my boots off, get out of the wet gear, or at least partially get something where it's like, okay, I kind of feel like I'm home. And what is it? Queens of the Stone Age. When you own the world, you're always home. I love that.
Animals in the midnight zone when you're